Hello everyone, and welcome back to Infantry Only Fire Emblem 4, the only Fire Emblem Let's Play series on YouTube that makes its big comeback and then vanishes for a week and a half again. But this time wasn't really my fault. As soon as I made that video, my mother asked me to house sit, and what I thought was just a weekend quickly morphed into a week and a half. So, I'm not taking the L on that one. I'm gonna blame her and not myself. But anyways, last time we took care of probably my least favorite chapter in the game, and thankfully this one is a lot more simple. All we have to do is just conquer 3 castles, and they aren't as nearly difficult or painstaking as that first castle last time, though this chapter isn't without its hiccups. As always, before the chapter begins, we need to take 30 years in the arena before we can actually get started. And for the most part, this is uneventful, save for our first promotion of the second generation, Lana, who promotes from not being able to fight to being able to fight, which is a very, very good distinction. Since Azel is her father, she's packing a real punch in the magic department. Sure, she doesn't have any combat skills like Nihil or anything to help her do damage, but she has pursuit, and that's all she needs, because remember, this is a Kage game, and as a Kage game, no one knows what the hell resistance is. So she's going to be tearing through enemies whenever she isn't healing. The very start of the chapter, we have to make sure the castle to the north is properly protected. It gets assaulted by cavalry and then mages, so Leif alone probably won't be able to defend it. So I decide to move Arthur up there, armed with Forseti, because nothing's going to help make use of that leg ring I have on him than doing absolutely nothing and standing still in front of a castle. The rest of my units will move out from the south castle and start moving northeast through the armor knights in the forest. This is an encounter that can be a little tricky. You might have to reset once if bad RNG goes your way, but there are plenty of forests around to make sure that Seliph and anyone else there is going to just take care of it no problem. Though do be careful of that general, he can definitely kill you. Quick aside, speaking of that general, I just want to point out this line and how his portrait is a Chagall reskin. If you're going to have to reuse portraits due to budget limitations, this is the way to acknowledge it. As for the fun times up north, Leif has to fend off an entire horde of cavalry, which, thanks to the shield ring and the level ups he got from last chapter, really don't hurt him too much. Now you might notice that he is at half health by the time they get to him. This is because I wanted to handicap myself and give myself a challenge. Okay, it's because I fucked up in the arena, and Leif was like the last one I did, and I really didn't feel like resetting just to redo everything for Leif, so I just left him at 1 HP and let the castle heal him. Yeah, look, again, we have learned that I am bad at this game. I don't need comments rubbing it in. Once that's taken care of, we have those 3 Magi Sisters from last chapter to deal with again. And I think they can pull off a triangle attack, but I cannot stress enough how easy it is for that to just not happen. Just do the classic bait and switch of put someone at the very edge of their range, let them walk up, and then kill them on player phase. You have so many options here. Shannon, Yohalavir, Shannon, Larcey, Shannon. You can kill all 3 of them very easily. And hell, if you're using a brave weapon, or Shannon, you just have a super easy time of it. It's not at all much of a threat. However, one mage shows up that is a little bit of a problem. Fan favorite Ishtar makes her debut this chapter, and she can actually be very difficult to kill. She has the legendary tome Mjolnir, and obviously it's a magic tome, has a lot of damage, that thing's one-shotting like 90% of your army. She doesn't have pursuit, but she does have adept, meaning that if you get unlucky, she can 2-hit you and you're dead. I don't care who you are, that will kill you. So we have to deploy a tactic of just one-shotting her with Shannon in order to kill her. She also has Vantage, so if you're going to try some like whittled down strats, it's not going to work. She's just going to kill you. So make sure you just kill her in 1 round of combat. I meme Shannon, but Larcey and Ulster are also perfectly capable as long as they proc Astra. And it's not like this game lets you reload every turn at the start to rig RNG in your favor or anything. And it's at this point in the chapter I finally deploy Julia out of the castle. Now you might be asking yourself, why did you keep her in there so long? And you see, this was part of a very secret tactic I like to call, I forgot Julia and left her in the castle. Look, I know with this and with Leif, I'm really not making a good case for myself being good at video games, but you're just gonna have to accept it for who I am. After Ishtar shows up, we get our next great powerhouse, Fabale, an archer who is using the Ufel and will pretty much annihilate anything and everything with it. His good stats, his Ufel, and his just overall dominant offense means that he's going to be a very useful killer in our army, especially with all the Dragon Knights we're about to fight. Granted, he is an archer, so his lack of an enemy phase presence can be bad, but with a bit of good positioning and a plethora of 2-range magic users, you can still convince enemies to attack him from a distance, and he will repay that favor in kind, with a lot of fucking damage. Like, Jesus Christ, look at this kid's attack offense. Now it's time to fight the boss of this castle, which is the same as the boss from the last castle, Bloom, and he's both easier and trickier to deal with. Before he had Mjolnir, which really pumped up his stats and made him a problem. Now he just has a basic Thoron, which isn't nearly as threatening, but he does have bolting, making it a little trickier to get to him. So just make sure that no one's capable of being killed by him, or if you do leave someone that can get killed by him, pray to God and make sure he favors you, and you should be able to take care of Bloom much easier. He does have the good old-fashioned Pavice, which could be annoying, but you know, when has that ever screwed us up? After we take the castle, we immediately are thrown into our next objective, protecting Ced from the horde of Dragon Knights that are coming to kill him. I say protecting in air quotes because it's fucking Ced. He doesn't need our protection. Even with a completely physical father like we have him, his light tome is gonna rip through the Dragon Knights no problem. However, there are a bunch of green units running from the castle, and normally I say that green units aren't people. However, these green units have something of value to give me, so I'm willing to give them rights. They give us a free level up, much like the green units in Chapter 4, so we'll just be moving our underleveled units to nab them up and get free experience. So good job, green units, you actually aren't completely worthless after all. Instead joining our army, we have another one of this game's infamous powerhouses on our team. Now yes, with Lex as his father, he isn't as powerful as he could be. However, the fact that he's a magic user means he's still ripping through enemies no problem, and Lex does give him some pretty nice bulk, though he is going to be getting a lot of worthless strength level ups, and every time I see them I'm just like, oh yeah, I didn't do his father optimally. But it largely doesn't matter, he'll be able to hold his own very well regardless. Now, I wish I could make this next segment more interesting, but these Wyvern Knights, though they are plentiful in amount, really aren't much of a threat. They don't do too much damage, and hell, with their javelins, they're so inaccurate they probably won't be doing any damage, and you kinda just mow them down. Needless to say, after how frustrating the last chapter was, this one's kind of just a complete cakewalk. The only thing that's mildly threatening is trying to get to that place to the east before the bandits destroy it, but that's also not really that much of a problem. I was able to get Ulster there of all people over there in a pretty quick amount of time, and God knows if I had Fee it'd be even easier. So we end this chapter on a very anticlimactic note. There's no more tomfoolery or shenanigans for the rest of it, it's just Dragon Knights come up, I kill those Dragon Knights, I move down a bit, another thing of Dragon Knights show up, I kill those Dragon Knights, and it's just not really engaging, so, I don't really know how to end this one. I'll end it by saying thank you all very much for watching. I know that these updates haven't been as frequent as I liked, but this time it wasn't my fault. So rather than saying, hey, see you next time in a more timely manner, I'm just going to say that I'm not promising you anything. That way, when I ultimately fail to live up to your expectations, it's not my fault for saying that I can do well, but your fault for believing in me. See y'all next time, and it'll be out when it's done.